Recording. All right. So today class is for middleware, right? So express, if you look, read this definition, right? Express middleware functions. So middleware is a function, okay? Just a function, right? Express middleware functions are, right? Functions that have access to the request and response. Remember, there is a functions inside a controller, right? Request and response. So middleware has access to this thing also, okay? These are the object. Request and response is the object in an express application, right? Request response cycle. That is called, the whole thing is called request response cycle. Middleware function can execute code. So what middleware can do, right? Execute code, modify the request and the response objects, okay? Even it will respond back to the object, okay? Even it will stop your next step. You cannot go further, right? Like that. So to understand middleware very easy, right? What we can do is look at our, you know, okay, let me give you simple idea, right? Where is the doctor hospital here, right? So the patient came to the hospital, right? To the doctor hospital. Now there is a middleman. Before, you cannot go directly see the doctor, okay? You came here, now you go to the counter or maybe somewhere, right? You ask, you know, for the doctor, then they will ask you, like maybe they will ask you, you have to make a payment. Do you have insurance? So you checking, right? Doing the check in the middle, okay? If you don't have insurance or you have a cash to pay, something like that. So you have to pass that step, okay? So there is a functionality, right, to pass that step. Next one is they will check for your blood pressure or something before you go to the doctor, right? So there will be another function which will do the checkup of your blood pressure, maybe check the blood, something like that, right? Okay. Sorry guys, there was network issue. So again, you have another functionality there to, to finish all the necessary check, right? Before you, they will allow you to go see doctor. Then you have to wait for your turn, and then you can go finally to the doctor, right? So in the middle, for example, in our case, right, somebody try to access my website. uh, he or she has to log in, okay? When they try to log in, right, they have a username password. I will check that username password before even they can go to the dashboard or somewhere, right, to do something. So in my bootcamp website, maybe somebody will log in, right? I will check if they are authorized or not, if they are my student or not, right? I will check. If they are a student, they can go to their dashboard and open the HTML and then click on the video and watch, right? Or maybe study some text. If they are not authorized, then I will say, sorry, you have to register, make a payment and come back again, right? Like that. I'm just kidding, okay? Anyone can access, right? So, but see the middleware, there is something called middleware, right? And the middleware job is to check before something will run, okay? So before that, let's prepare. You understand the middleware now, right? You don't want to access the data before you do some kind of check, okay? Some validation things, right? So there will be validation also. You're going to learn data. Not today, but maybe next week. You want to make sure the data is valid data, right? Proper data. They need to send string, and you are looking for a string, and maybe they can send you some bunch of, like maybe like 1 GB of something image or something like that, right? You don't want that, okay? If something like that, you have to cancel it. So there is a middleware to handle all that things, right? Okay, so we will look at a simple example, but before that, let's continue with our uh, project setup, okay? So I'm going to create a server now, right? So that was in the node backend. So let's do this. Free with that, not there, right here. So I need to first, right? to create any node.js project, what you have to do, you initialize the folder, right, your project folder. So first I will open that folder in my terminal. Okay, cd, and I will go to I don't know what is that, 5, right? I believe 5, cd, and then I will type 1, and then cd class dash 3, right? I'm just changing here. Okay, so I'm in the right terminal now, right? See that? Now I'm working on that folder. The first thing is npm in, because I don't have anything, this is empty, right? In order to install any node library, any software, I must make my project initialized, right? I must initialize my project. That is called npm in it dash y will allow to install everything without asking me, right? SSS for all the questions. Okay, done. So now you can see here package.json, right? We'll just make this one app. You can leave it, but I will make it app.js, right? Like my default. Okay, fine. And I can create one file called app.js. Next, I'm going to install some of the package, right? So npm install express nodemon. I can install all in one line also, right? I can install same time nodemon. Okay, for now let's skip these two, right? Because right now we're just working with the what do you call that, middleware, right? So no need. That is enough. So I'm just going to create, remember last time, right? We did the structure, the whole structure of our project, right? So I mean we can do that also here. Let's do that. The first one was router, right? Routers, and I'll just create user routers, right? Like that. Just call it user router. Okay, no s, this is a single user, right? User routers, I don't know, let's keep it yes, that's fine. And then we're gonna need uh after that I'm gonna need controller, right? So let's, in the main folder, don't put inside here. Okay, controllers, and I will create, right now I just want to create a user, right? User controllers.js. Controller is the function. Okay, all the function will go here, and here will be just a route, right? Later I'm gonna need the database also, right? So for that I'm gonna create a models, right? Let's keep it, and maybe there will be something called user, you know user, right? Let's call it user.js, something like that, but we'll see for database. Okay, to create, but for now we don't need, so let's stick to that router and the controller. So the next step, here I'm going to import, not import, I just keep using import, I forget because here, I mean this one, right? In the common JS, that is old JS, you're going to have to do the require. Okay, the new ES6, which will be in the React or maybe next JS, there is import one, but does not matter, right? Const express require, because I have installed express already, I just need to access that, right? Like this. And once I have that express, right, I can, you know create an app now, right? So const, basically you running that express function, okay, so that you have access to all the functionality comes with this express function. You just have to execute this function, this express, right, and it will give you all the functionality to use, which is stored here in app. Now this is the object, right? App is the object. So the first one is app.listen, right? Listen, and you can listen to the port. Now just give the port like this. This is okay, this will work, right? I mean, you can just put the port here and it will work. If you want to check the result, if this is running or not, you can add the callback function here, right? Like this, and just console log something, right? Just call it server is running, right, in port 3000, something like that. So if this is okay, it should, give you this message right in the console log here. Okay, before that I just need to fix my packages, and here I'm gonna make npm start, right? Start, that is the command to run node1 and app.js, right? So when I say npm start, it will run my app and it will continuously monitor, right, for any changes. So if I go back here now and I do npm start, you can see node1 started my server, that is node app.js, that is just running this one, starting node. Before we do manually, right, node app.js, but it will handle all the time for any change. So where I was writing, guys, did I put in the wrong place? Here is no code, right? So let me see. Yeah, I put in the user, right? That was wrong. So I'll just copy this and put in the app now. Okay, so I will close all that. I don't need for now. So, remember with the app, right, you can create all the routes. All the routes means get route. You can create, right? That is a root route. Okay, and then you can have this callback function, right? Like this. Let's look at the middleware in the simple way for here. Let's understand that, and then next step we're gonna break it down all our routes controls when we move to the database. Okay, first, very easily, let's understand this part, right? So this is a request response, right? See, this function, this is a controller, right? This is the logic. This is also the middleware. Okay, this function is also what I said. Middleware is a function, right, which will run the response dot send, and let's send, this is root route like that. Okay, simple enough. Now, right, if, see, every time I save, it will run the refresh the page, right? This will run automatically, means node1 is just handling my work. Now if we go back in the browser, right, and check, so I will do localhost 3000. This is the root route. Okay, the localhost, then this is the port, right, where my server is running right now in my computer. So I have access to all the routes now. I only have one route, get, and this is the root route. Look at that, I get whatever inside that function, right? So see what happened. I said that function is also a middleware, right? Understand this. I'm the client, I'm the user. I make a request to the server, right, to the anywhere, whatever port. I just, let's say I do www.facebook.com, right? Same thing, I did something localhost 3000 because I know my port is running on 3000. So this is a this is if you request, I make a request. Okay, so sending request and you get response back from the server. Okay, so when you send the request, right, and before you get a response, there is a function which will run this function. That is the middleware. The function runs between request and response. That is clear. I mean, we're getting response back, right? Here we're getting this response back from this function. Basically, this server is giving me back something, right, based on the route. This is a root route. Server is giving me back something, whatever inside this function. This function can hold maybe the data, right, from a database, get all the users, or do whatever right? That is a response. So the action, right, between request and response, if there is a function between that, that is a middleware. This is a middleware. Okay. Now, right, there is a global middleware called app.use like this, right? And we can call it express.json. If you need to parse any JSON file, it will parse, right? If you're getting something from the database or from somewhere which is JSON object, like object, JSON object, that will help you to parse. Even you can install the body parser, right? To parse the data from the body, okay, from the local body, right? You're going to send some data from the for the posting, we will see later, but for now, that is a global. This use is the middleware function, global middleware function, right? Okay, what we can do now, I'm going to write one function here. I'll just write one function, okay? Function, right? Call it logged in, right? So this function, remember, middleware functions can have access to request and response in the definition, right? Same like this. This is a middleware function also, but I'm just creating one, middleware function, right? So the middleware function, this is gonna have access to this request wherever I'm gonna use this, right? This function, wherever I use, it has access to this request and response. So let's imagine, right? I'm gonna send the user from my browser, okay? User, right? As the query parameter, okay? So I will say const user equal to request. How I get requested query, right? Query dot user, like that. Simple enough, right? Just make one maybe one parameter for now. Is one query parameter is okay for now. And I'll check if user is true, right? Or maybe let's make it user equal to there. Then maybe console log, right? Console dot log. Let's call it logged in, right? It looks like funny, right? But just see how this will work. Else, uh, just return it maybe, right? Just not return, but let's response with the response dot send. Just send the message to the browser, right? That not allowed to log in. Okay. So my user, when I try to send data, right, must be dev equal to dev. That must be mass, right? Then only I will be logged in. Just I will be allowed to access, right? So this we'll just use here, okay? Just in the root route, no need to create another route, right? And here I can say you can send message, right? Like this. This is the root route, and you are logged in, like that. Okay, that's it. See, this one I can call here, right? Before, this is the first middleware, but I will just put here the middleware, right? Logged in, comma, like this. That's it. I just call this function, right? And go back and see what happened. So I will refresh this page, right? I get error because the user try to read and cannot find, right? And what I said, this is the request, I mean, uh, query parameter. So that means question mark user equal to, for now I will just add maybe John, right? Like this, and enter, no need quotation mark, okay? Enter, right? Let's see what I get. So there is some error, right? Cannot cannot read property undefined user, right? So logged in undefined user request that, oh sorry, here is required, right? Not that, not required, okay? That is query, you remember how you access data from the browser we studied? So that will be request dot q query dot user, right? I don't know why it's not giving me the, is that correct, guys? Check. Okay, make sure that is okay, right? So here was the query like that, same thing. Request dot query dot user. Now try. So refresh, and not allowed to log in. And look at that. I get the answer not allowed to log in because whatever I send the user did not match to dev, right? But if I send dev now and enter, uh, now enter, right? So why? Okay. Oh, I get logged in, right? But it did not send me the, it says logged in. When I send dev, it logged in, right? But let me try again. User equal to dev and enter, right? Not allowed to log in. I'm getting same answer here, right? Else I'm getting here same thing. Uh, but what we can do is, here is login, okay, that is fine, right? So what we can do, right? Maybe just return it. If that is true, just return, right? Now refresh, just enter again. Yeah, I did not change. Why did not change, right? Let's look at here. Okay, if user equal to dev console logged in, I'm getting logged in, right? But I want to, okay, one more thing, guys, I forgot, right? When you are using middleware, make sure this function only work, right? This function runs, but you did not tell the middleware, hey, after I do the checking, run your next function. This is the one next. So you're gonna have the next here. Next is a function, right? And you call that next after you logged in. Next, okay, that's it. And now look at, right, this is the route you are logged in. So what I did, I just create one middleware function. I call it inside here before, right? So the sequence matter, okay? First, you want to call the middleware. You can have many middleware, right? One middleware can do the just checking the username, password, maybe. The other middleware is checking, same like in the hospital, the middleman, one person can take a payments, check the insurance, ID, all that, right? There is sister or maybe somebody, right, who gonna take the blood, check the pressure, check the weight and all that, okay? That is different functions, different persons doing different things. Same concept here. We can, create different functions and put in the sequence. Okay, you do the payment first, verify that. Okay, next, next step. Next, when you put the next function, right, the next function will run. Next middleware or next function. So in our case, when this is true, if the user is dev, it will just run this function, right? If I change the dev, right, if I change the dev here, I will just make it again John and enter, right? Look at here, I just not allowed means middleware can just send the response without running that next function. It will not let you move forward, right? It just stop there. So that is the concept of middleware. When we in the maybe when we start learning Next.js, right, we will be learning about the next auth. There you see the middleware use, right? How you use the middleware to handle a lot of things, okay? Like if somebody is logged in or not, if somebody is admin or not, right? Somebody is a user or a student, whatever, okay? uh, Admin or not, if he or she is admin, which page he can access, right? All that things you can define in middleware page, right? You can in the middleware separate file, right? And you define everything there. And middleware always run first before your next function, right? Like before move to the next function, okay? Remember that middleware run first. Okay, so this middleware I added, right, for this function. But if I have another route, for example, let's I have app.get, right? Let's this time I'm going to create users. Okay, users like this, right? And then callback function, and here I can say response dot send. I have to receive that object from request and response, right? Request and response like that. Send, and we'll just call it this is user route, right? Route, fine. So if I go to the route called localhost 3000, this slash is localhost 3000, okay, and then slash users, right? After that I'm going to go to the user route. So let's try now. So I will open the next page here and localhost 3000 slash users, okay, and enter, right? This is user routes. It will not, that middleware is not affecting my this route. I'm okay to go, right? No problem. But if I go back here, right, and add this middleware in the global middleware, this use is a global middleware, okay, so I can just call app.use use, right, and then you call that logged in here. That's it. If I do that, and now, right, if I go back here and refresh this page and see what happened, not allowed to log in. Look at that. So what we understand from this, because I have the global middleware, right, it will run always first before my users function will run. So to access, to access my data here, right, I have to call the name equal to dev, right? If I do that and enter, so users name equal to dev, right? Is that is the what I need? Sorry, not name, but there is a user, this user property, okay? User, right? So I must put here user, right? Okay. So this is the user route. Look at that. This is the user route, right? All right. So now, once I pass the proper properties here, user, I have access now. If I make it John right here, it will throw me out. Not allowed to access, not allowed to go inside that function, to do anything, right? So that is the middleware. So I hope everyone clear with the middleware, right? Okay, let's do one thing, right? We're gonna work with the next thing is our database. So that will be a little longer also, right? And I want to, like create all these things and then start the database, right? So it will be a lot long video. What I will do, I'm going to stop this one and start again, right? With after a few minute break. Okay, so let me stop this.